Hi, my name's Owen, and I'm the owner of Terrible Toby's Pet Supply Depot. Here at Terrible Toby's, we strive for a connection and understanding with our pet parents and giving pets a happy and healthy life. As we all know, one of the best ways of keeping our pets healthy is through a quality food option. And at Terrible Toby's, we have a large variety of different food options available for your pet. A pet's diet is overall extremely important for their health and mood, and selecting the right type of food for your pet can be somewhat confusing. And so here we wanted to give a quick explanation of the different types of foods that we offer at Terrible Toby's. So in this video, we're going to be chatting specifically about cooked foods. So by that, I mean dry foods and wet foods. And most dog owners, when getting their pet, have to make the decision of what they're going to feed their pets. And typically, a lot of people will think that the difference between these foods is the ingredients. But primarily, the difference is how these foods are produced. So with a wet food, you're going to take all of your proteins and ingredients, and that's going to be ground down and then added into a gravy, cooked and canned, and then put on the shelf. Your dry foods, on the other hand, are going to be ground down with the same or similar ingredients, flattened out and baked into almost a dough, and then cut into a kibble. The amount of times that they get baked and how or what temperatures that the kibbles are baked varies widely depending on the brand of kibble, but for the most part, that is generally how a kibble is going to be created. Now that we know the difference between the production, let's look at the ingredients and health benefits of each type of food. Wet food generally is going to be more flavorful and tends to be more appetizing to dogs, especially picky eaters, older dogs, or dogs with teeth issues that have a harder time chewing harder kibbles. The high moisture content in a wet food is also extremely beneficial for dogs that aren't drinking or aren't naturally drinking as much water as they should be. Because of how much liquid is inside of that wet food, it's going to keep them hydrated a lot better than a dry food where they're actually going to have to drink more water in order to hydrate themselves. Another benefit of wet food is that you can switch up all of the flavors very easily with your wet foods, which gives a lot more variety and options for your pet to consume. Especially for picky eaters, this is extremely beneficial because you can constantly be switching that protein flavor and giving them different benefits. Wet food is stored in cans or tins, which makes it quite easy to store when it's closed, but once you've opened this can, you have to make sure it's stored in the refrigerator, and you have to make sure that it's covered. You can use saran wrap or a plastic bag, or you could take advantage of a universal can cover, which is going to help keep these fresh and long-lasting in the fridge. Once you've opened a can, you really only have about 4 to 5 days before that can spoils, though. Dry food, on the other hand, will last a lot longer once it's opened. Once you open this bag, as long as you continually seal it or put it into another container that has a airtight seal on it, you'll be able to keep this bag open for 30 to 60 days and be able to continuously feed your dog from it. Because of the high moisture content, wet food should not be left out for longer than a few hours. It's going to dry up, get very crusty, and lose a lot of its nutritional value. Plus, it's going to spoil a lot quicker than dry food, which was left out. That means if your dog is a grazer, he typically is not going to benefit from a wet food, and you're typically going to want to leave a dry food out for them to eat. Dry food, on the other hand, is generally a lot easier to store, and it also is a lot cheaper. Because you can purchase this in large quantities, and the packaging is minimal compared to canning, we're able to get the price point of dry kibble down a lot more than on cans. Dry dog food, once opened, has a lot larger or longer of a shelf life and can remain within your pantry rather than having to take up valuable refrigerator space. On top of being a lot more convenient than the canned food option, dry food also promotes chewing. Because dry food is in a kibble form, dogs have to chew this food before they can start to swallow it, which helps break up tartar and plaque that builds up on dogs' teeth. You'll see even with dental foods, they make their kibbles up to ½ an inch wide to ensure that dogs are actually chewing and really working away some of that plaque and tartar buildup. Whereas soft food or wet food tends to sit on their teeth and not actually be chewed and not rinse away from their teeth, and does not, unfortunately, break away any plaque or tartar. Dry foods generally are the perfect shape to put into a treat dispenser or puzzle, which allows your dog to slowly eat their meal over the day. This is extremely beneficial for really fast eaters. It helps with their digestion and can also prevent bloat, which is when your dog is eating way too quickly and causes their stomach to expand. Sometimes dry food is not the best option for your pup though. A lot of wet foods are a lot more appetizing, and picky eaters will tend to shy away from their dry foods more than they shy away from their wet foods. Now that we've gone over the different benefits of each food, let's talk about combining them, because that's actually a very valuable option as well. Dry food, as we talked about, has tons of benefits, including being more convenient, lower costs, helps break away plaque and tartar, whereas wet food tends to be a lot more flavorful for picky eaters. So if you have a fussy eater, maybe a senior dog that doesn't like to chew as much, but you still want to take advantage of dry food, you can very easily mix these two options. If you pick a quality dry food for your dog and start using a wet food as a topper, or maybe going 50% wet food and 50% dry food, you can really create a flavorful option for your dog while still promoting chewing, plaque and tartar breakup, and giving them a long-lasting and healthy meal. Well, I hope this video has given you a little bit of insight onto the differences between wet and dry foods, and I hope it's going to make your decision on which type of food you want to move forward with easier for you and your pet. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave a comment in the video below, or if you just have some suggestions for new content for this channel, feel free to let us know as well.